Hello, everybody. We'll be starting here in just a minute. Want to welcome you. Thank you for being here. I may have started this just a minute or two too early. Give time for people to come in. Hello, welcome. We'll be starting in just a minute here. If you guys would like to say hello or post any questions, there is the chat room on the right-hand side here, so please feel free to make any comments or questions you have over there, and I'll be happy to answer them as we go through. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, everyone. So thank you all very much for joining me. You are at this webinar, 3 Secrets to More Richness and Radiance in Your Life and Business. And who this is for, let me get over here to my slides. Okay, who this is for those of you that may be struggling with money, wish you had more of it in your life. You may be working way too hard for too little results, or you can't get to the next level of success. You know you're able to get to the next level, but you haven't figured it out quite yet how to do that, and you know something is holding you back. This is also for you if you feel like you might be showing up as a man in your work, and that's when you're over-efforting or forcing to make things happen. So what we're going to cover today, I'm going to show you how to awaken your feminine essence so you can show up more powerfully and bring more balance and serenity into your business. We're also going to learn how to activate your truth detector so you have greater clarity and direction in your business. We're also going to learn how to turn up your radiance factor so that you can attract to you the attention that you really desire. We're going to learn how to improve your relationship with money. And we're also going to learn what might be keeping you playing small from making the income that you really desire. And it goes way beyond your limiting beliefs. So why you should stick around here, I'm going to share with you at the last part of this webinar, I'm going to share with you the #1 way to activate your radiance anytime, any place, so that you can light up the room and turn people's heads when you walk in. And this is definitely going to have your clients wanting to work with you. They're more eager to work with you. And plus, I'm also going to share with you a free gift worth over $200 that will guarantee you a new way of looking at yourself and your business. And plus, you're also going to have access, for those of you that turned up live on this webinar, I'm going to give you a free link to a special ebook that I wrote, and you're going to have access to that for an hour after this webinar is over as a little thank you for showing up live to this event. So please make sure that you stick around to the very end. So again, this is for those of you that might be frustrated with your relationship with money, wishing you just had more, or you were able to maybe keep more of the money that you make. And how do you know if you're showing up as a man in your business? Well, do you feel that you are really in competition with other business owners or entrepreneurs or businesses that are in your same niche or field? Do you feel that you have to force to make things happen in your business? Do you work really, really hard to get yourself out there and be known? Do you push your work or services on others and pressure people into saying yes and working for you? This is the masculine way of showing up in your business and running your business. And today I'm going to show you a whole new way that's a lot more fun to do your business. So this is also for you that if you're not earning your highest potential, and you may be experiencing blocks around receiving more clients, more money, more success in your business. Well, how do you know if you're blocking your receiving? Some of you may have received my my Are You Open to Receive ebook. But in that book, I go into a little bit more detail, but 3 questions you can ask yourself, and how you answer these determine whether or not you are open to receiving or not, is how do you accept a compliment? Are you able to say thank you, or do you, discount it and try to offer a compliment right back? Do you feel guilty when someone gives you a gift? Or if someone tries to do something for you, do you immediately think of how you're going to repay them? Those are all ways that you might be blocking your ability to really take something fully inside into your being. Now, you may be able to, take the gift from them, but energetically, you're not fully allowing it to sink in deeply into your being. And so that's where you're blocking the energetic receiving of bringing things in. So women in general, I hate to say this, but women in general are just really bad receivers, unfortunately. And today we're going to learn how we can shift this. So this webinar is also for you if you might be missing that inner spark or glow of joy and happiness. We all got into starting our business because we really want to make this huge impact. And then we get bogged down with all the little details of how we should be running it and what we should be doing. And we tend to lose the joy and happiness. And so what we're going to be covering today is a way for you to regain that and access that again. And some of you may be feeling out of alignment with your authentic self and fulfilling your destiny. And you know that there's something more you should be doing, or the work that you're doing might not be truly inspiring you. So something just feels off. And learning this information that I'm going to share with you today can really help you get back into alignment with what it is that you're really here to do. So one of the biggest things that I see happening for most women entrepreneurs is that you're really holding yourself back from greater success, and you're blocking your power and your ability to receive. And the reason that this is happening, I feel, is because you're lacking an inner connection to your pelvis. And I feel that our pelvis is really the foundation of our business, the energetic foundation of our business. If you realize the pelvis houses the first and second chakras, which are special energy centers in our body. And so this pelvis area is really an important place for us to be connected to, because when you are connected here, you have a much more solid foundation to grow your business from. You're also able to own your power in a way that doesn't scare people away, but actually draws them to you. There's a huge difference. And I think the reason so many women are afraid of their power is because they're afraid that they're going to scare people, or that people won't like them if they really step into their power fully. And let me tell you, when you do own your power in a way that is connected, it really is more attracting than it is repelling. So when you're connected to your pelvis, your energy is open to receive more. You're able to bring more into your life. And it also increases your money capacity. The pelvis is an energetic bowl of how much we can really hold in our life and in our business. And when you really get connected there and work with the energy of the space, you can increase that capacity. And I also know that this pelvic space, when you are connected into it, it is your truth detector. And you will always know what is right for you and your business. So when you get this and you get connected and you're living from your pelvic space, you exude a radiance that has people really wanting to work with you. And you have the ability to hold more and attract more money and clients and success into your life and your business. It is a whole new, juicy way of working in your business. And so I'm so glad you're here with me today, and I'm really excited to share the 3 secrets to more richness and radiance in your life and business. We're going to be learning how to live a more rich lifestyle that includes, yet goes way beyond the whole money thing, and also how to be more radiant in your life and business so people are more attracted to you. And when you get this, you have a much happier relationship with yourself and with money. And you also exude a confidence and a power and a radiance just in how you show up. And it really has people intrigued and they really want to learn, like, what does she have that I don't have? I'm curious. It creates a curiosity and people are more intrigued and wanting to talk to you and hopefully work with you as well. So why should you be listening to me? Well, I am a women's health physical therapist. I've been one for over 25 years and I've owned 2 successful PT practices, one in Seattle and one here in Boulder, Colorado. And I've been working with women for over 25 years and helping them connect into the power of their pelvis. And what ended up happening is people kept telling me how I was changing their life. And that wasn't my intent. All I was doing was just helping them access the power and this energy that's there. And it was really changing their lives. And I found the same thing for myself. When I learned how to really work with this energy in this space and get connected to my pelvic space, I found my truth and it did change my life. And I also discovered a more authentic power within me. And I've also discovered my divine purpose in the work that I'm doing. And so when I first started connecting into my pelvis space and working with it, I had the realization that my marriage wasn't working for me anymore. And it was a really hard truth to accept because I have 2 boys. And here's a picture of my boys and my little doggy. There's a peekaboo view of Ashton there. But I really struggled with this truth because I really didn't want to break up my family. And, on the outside, my marriage looked okay. We were good friends and we got along well. And, we were a good team taking care of the boys together. But it wasn't fulfilling me on all levels. And in fact, it was actually really holding me back. And so after many tears and a very challenging decision, I did end my marriage. And I have to say that it was one of the best decisions that I ever made. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you connect into your pelvic space that you're going to get a divorce. That's not what I'm saying here at all. What I can tell you, though, is that when you connect into your pelvic space, you will find your truth. And your truth will be revealed to you. And whether that means that your relationship isn't great the way it is or something needs to shift here, your pelvis is going to let you know. And as much as I tried to ignore it, it wouldn't go away. And now I see how much I really needed to end my marriage so that I could truly step into who I am meant to be here in this world. I really had lost myself in my marriage. And so what I do love is that I am showing up in such a whole, more powerful and really claiming the fullness of who I really am. And so when I divorced, I was able to buy my own house, and I have a beautiful light-filled home that has views of the mountains, and I can truly say now that I love, love, love my life. But while my PT practice was good and it was supporting me and my boys, I really wasn't saving anything for college. And I've got college coming up. My kid's in freshman. I really needed to make a difference. I've got to step up my business and make more money so I can get him through college. And I also had this nudge inside of me saying, I needed to do something more. I needed to do something bigger. Yet intuitive hands physical therapy is the name of my practice, and it really is true. When I put my hands on someone's body, I really get a sense of what's going on in the body. And so while I was having this nudge, I needed to do something bigger. I was like, well, how's that supposed to work if I have to have my hands on everybody? So I wasn't quite sure what was going on, with that, and I tried to just ignore it, but you know what? It wouldn't go away. And what ended up happening is that I got directed to take this course, and this course was all about re-imprinting our birth and working with the energy around our birth field. And that really changed my life. When I was at the course and I was laying on the table trying to re-imprint my birth, I knew that I was born breech, but I didn't know how I came out. I didn't know if I came out butt first or feet first. And as I was laying on the table, I realized as one leg was, my right leg actually stuck out straight like an arrow, and my left leg started getting curled up into my chest. And as I was laying there, I'm going, oh my gosh, I wonder if I came out feet first. Well, I did confirm with my mom that I did. Later on, I did. And as I was laying there in that position, I went, oh my gosh, this is so indicative of how I'm showing up in my business. I have one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. I'm trying to put myself out there and I'm holding myself back so much at the same time. And some examples of that is that I wrote a beautiful article that actually got published, my first published article in a magazine called Midwifery Today. It was pelvic trauma on the pelvis, the trauma of childbirth on the pelvis, something like that. Anyway, I can't remember, but I was so excited when I got the first copy of the magazine. And when I opened it up and read the article, my heart just sank. I went, oh my gosh, I did not include any contact information other than my name and my business.
Mhm.
There was no website, there was no email, no phone number, nothing. And, sure, someone could look me up, but I was making it hard for them, right? Then another way is that I put a video on YouTube. It's called How to Massage Your C-Section Scar. And it's got over 127,000 hits in 4 years that it's been on there. And when I placed it onto YouTube 4 years ago, I didn't know much about posting a video. And so I had put my website at the end of my video, but I didn't put any contact information in the description of the video. So again, when the video is done, it goes away so that my website is not staying up there. And I don't have any way to add the contact information in the description because Google then bought out YouTube and I had to set up a new account and I no longer have access to that video. So I just kind of, it's frustrating, but those are just examples of the ways I was trying to get myself out there and trying to put it, and I am successful in my PT business locally, but I'm so holding myself back from really getting greater exposure. And so when I learned how to re-imprint this at this course that I was taking, I tapped into an expansiveness of energy that I have never experienced before. It was mind-blowing. And that really changed it all for me. After I re-imprinted that birth, I learned that I can actually work long distance with women, that I can sense and feel what's going on in their body and help them shift their energy wherever they are in the world. And so that's allowed me to start my online group programming. And I'm better able to leverage my time and make more money. And I have been able to break into a 6-figure business. And it's just, and I'm also doing the divine work, my divine purpose of really why I'm here. And it feels so good. And so my life is so rich right now. I have work that I love. I have family and friends, and my connection with my boys is just so beautiful. And I love my life. And I so desire that for every single woman in this world. And I really feel that when we can connect into our pelvic space and work with the energy in this area that I'm going to share with you today, it truly can change your life as well. And it's not just my life that this work has changed. This is Linda, and Linda is a business coach. And when she came to work with me, she was making 6 figures in her business. She had just doubled her income. And she came to me and said, Lynn, my goal is to double my income this year as well. But if I do it in the same way as I did last year, I'm going to kill myself. She goes, I can't do that anymore. And so when we started working with her, her pelvis was so out of balance. Her feminine energy was on strike, and her masculine energy was so overburdened and overwhelmed by working so hard. And the energetic container of her money situation was a thimble. And after rebalancing and opening up her pelvic space, she's brought in $75,000 in 1 month. That's the power of this work. And then there's Stacy here. Stacy's an acupuncturist, and after she did one of my programs, she was able to increase her prices 60% in a field that she felt was really already saturated with acupuncturists, and her business actually increased. So there's a confidence and a power that is in this pelvic space that when you tap into it, you're able to show up in a whole new way. And both Linda and Stacy have experienced that, and so have many other clients that I've worked with. Some women, after going through my programs, have healed back pains, pelvic pains that they've had for years. They're showing up in a whole new way in relationships. They're quitting work that wasn't working for them so that they can really focus and really claim the work that they're meant to do in this lifetime. And so I so want that for you, because this pelvic connection is really, really magical. And when you work with the energy that's in this area, you can create a life and a business that you really, really want and that serves your higher self. And you'll really know what that is. When you release the blocks that are holding you back and you really access and tune into this power that's truly yours, you're going to show up in a whole new empowered way. People are going to respond to you differently. You're going to be so much more fascinating to them. You're going to be more connected to yourself, and that allows you to connect in closer to your family, your friends, your partner, and anyone that you want to. And so the big question is how are you showing up in your life and in your business? Is your foundation supporting you or not? And by that, I mean the foundation of your pelvis. And so let's jump in, and look at the first secret here, because the first key to your richness and radiance lies in your pelvis and your connection to it. And so I really believe that the foundation for our business lies within this energetic container of our pelvis. And the reason you might not be so rich and radiant is that because your pelvis is also a storage house for all the unprocessed emotions and traumas and events and things that have happened to you in your life. It's being held energetically in this space, and that clouds things up. It creates a lack of clarity. It creates a lack of confidence in who we are. And when we're able to clear that out, we can show up in a whole new, more empowered way. And this pelvic space is also your truth detector. I see it all the time with the women that I work with. When they tap into this area, they find their truth. They may not like it too, but the truth is there and it doesn't lie to you. But unfortunately, so many women are not living from this space. And what happens is that when we've had events that have challenged us or have traumatized us, we have abandoned this pelvic space. We leave it in an attempt to try to protect ourselves. But what that does is that actually leaves us more unprotected. And so when you can truly connect into this pelvic space and be present in it, that is your protection. Then you get to decide what you let in and what you keep out. And so many women don't have, here in the States, we have this idea of down there, and so many women just don't access it, don't even know how to tap into it. And yet when you do, you show up so much more powerfully, more confidently, more authentically, and you radiate something special from you that has people going, "Ooh, what's she got? I want some of that." So your bowl really shows you too what needs more attention in your life. So let's do a little visualization here and see what your bowl looks like. So I just invite you to allow your imagination to run wild here and really give it permission to just see what is there, not what you would hope to be there. There is a difference. So you can close your eyes or not, but just bring your attention and your awareness down into your pelvic space. What do you see as your bowl? Is it a certain substance? Is it made out of a certain substance? Is it a certain color? Where do you get drawn to in your pelvic space? On the left side, the front right back side, the left back side? Just kind of see, where do you get drawn to? And does your bowl sit level, or is it tilted in one way or the other? I had one client whose bowl was tipped forward. It was like everything was pouring right out. She couldn't contain or hold anything. And then also check in and see how deep your bowl is. Do you have thick walls or thin walls? Are they high walls or shallow or short walls? I had one client whose bowl was kind of an oblong, shallow platter almost. And so while it could hold a lot, it was really influenced and perturbed, should I say, by the energy around her. And so she was easily influenced by other people's energies and events going on around her. So it wasn't like it was a solid container that could really hold things stable in there. It was really unstable in a way. And so we worked with deepening her bowl, and she got it to be where it was a gourd, and she was able to be at the bottom of the bowl. So many women I work with, their energy stays at the top of their pelvis and they're not able to come all the way down into their pelvic floor, down all the way down. And when she became this gourd, she was really able to maintain this sense of stability and be in the eye of the storm. You know, the eye of the storm is where it's all peaceful and calm while everything's swirling on around you. And that's really where it's great to live from, so you can be centered and peaceful within you no matter what's happening around you. Wouldn't that be nice? So keep focusing in on your bowl here, and recognize that your bowl also shows up in different ways depending on what aspect of your life that you're looking at. So you actually have, like, when you think about money and holding money in your life, what kind of bowl shows up for you there? Or in relationships, what does your bowl look like in relationships? And so you can check in, and you can check in about your business. What does it look like for your business? Do you notice that it's shifting and changing? And feel free to write any comments in the chat room of what you're sensing or feeling in your bowl. Let's also tap into the energy that is inside your bowl. What does the energy feel like that's being contained in your bowl? Is it chaotic? Is it clear? Is it cloudy? Ideally, we want a clear, peaceful energy in our bowl. And without this clear connection, we have less radiance, we have less power, and we might even have less direction in our life. So let's go ahead and clear it up for you today. This is one of my favorite exercises I love sharing with women. And this is something that you could do every day, because as events happen to us. Okay, so Glory's asking, for a person that does not visualize, how can they see their bowl? Can this be unblocked so I can see, feel, know? Glory, I would just encourage you to just keep trying. There's different ways that you can visualize. So really, Glory, what it is it comes down to our imagination. And we have not been taught, or our imagination has not been embraced with us growing up. They really squash our imagination as kids and in school and stuff. And so what you can do, Gloria, is maybe, without trying to tap into your pelvis, into your body, but really start working with your imagination, and just start thinking about stories and seeing, animals, or, really create a story and start using it with your mind, and really work with your imagination. And then as you tap into your body, see if you can bring that in. And the other aspect that I find in some women is that they can't even get down into that bowl because they've blocked. So usually there's a block right around your waist, because it's just like it's off limits. It didn't feel safe to be down there, so you just block it off. And so that's something beyond what I can really cover in this call here today. And so it is something that I do cover in my Rich and Radiant program, and we can work on getting rid of that block and really helping you tap in and access it. But maybe just giving yourself permission to use your imagination and just pretend that you know what you're seeing in there. And a lot of times our mind will override what is going on, or our imagination is actually working just fine, but our mind overrides it and says, oh, that can't be right. And so another aspect that I don't have time to cover here is that we have 3 different energy centers in our body: our mind, our heart, and our womb space. And sometimes our mind is overactivated, so we need to activate the other 2, which can then help with that connecting into that space. So thank you for that question, Gloria, and just keep trying, okay? It's just a muscle. You need to keep exercising it. So in this pelvic sweeping exercise, I want you to imagine that you are a small little being, and you're going to start at your pubic bone in the front of your pelvis, and you've got a broom in your hand, and you're going to walk clockwise around your pelvis, and you're going to sweep into the middle all that no longer serves you. And just notice where things feel thicker or stickier, or there's resistance to anything wanting to release. We're just asking anything and all that is willing to be released to just sweep it down into the middle and let it fall down between your legs into the earth. And if you get to an area that's resistant, just spend an extra moment there, letting it know that you know it's there. Don't force anything. And just continue on. And just make note of where these blocks or these sticky parts, or might look like sludge or tar or mud, and just allow yourself, give yourself permission to just be with whatever is. And make your way around to the front again. And as you're done, just take a deep breath and breathe into that pelvic space and see what you notice. Is there a shift? Do you notice a difference in your energy? And if not, I just encourage you to keep playing with this. This is an exercise that you can do every day. Right before you go to bed at night is a great time to just clear away any gunk that might have been stored up during your day. And just always, and if you're feeling out of sorts, or you're feeling you don't have that peaceful calm inside of you, and yet you really want, this is an excellent exercise to just do to try to help clarify your energy field. Alrighty. So let's move on to secret number 2. Your feminine essence needs awakening in order for you to have more richness and radiance in your life. And while your bowl is the foundation of your business, your feminine essence is cultivated by working with the organs inside of your pelvis. And so our ovaries show us how we're showing up in our life. And the ovaries energetically are like a plump, juicy grape. That's when we have energy flowing in and flowing out, and everything's working great. A lot of times what happens is that ovary, the energy can get blocked in that ovary, and then it shrivels up to a raisin. Or what's very common is an overextension of the energy. There's too much energy flowing out, and it gets overextended. Or it can be totally absent, like not there. We don't, energetically can't even tap into it, don't even sense that it's there. And so The ovaries, a very common pattern I find in women is that on the left side, their ovary is, so the left side of your body is your feminine side, the right side of your body is your masculine side. And so if the left ovary kind of shows you how your feminine is showing up, and the right shows you how your masculine is showing up. And the a most common pattern that I see is either this left ovary is blocked or it's overextended. Women are such great nurturers. We take care of so many other people that it gets overextended and we're not filling ourselves up in. In fact, I had one client that I worked with who was a business coach, and she had 7 girls. They're all grown now. So now she's a grandma of I don't know how many, and you could just tell she's just got that motherly energy about her. And her left ovary was so overextended. I think she won the award for the most overextended ovary I've worked with. And she just had no ability to bring in and bring in for herself. So her left side's, the left side of her body was empty. The left side of her pelvis was just empty. And that's that feminine receiving energy. And so many women are blocked on that left side of the pelvis. And so when you can work and breathe into this area and really open up this energy flow, you can start to bring things in. Well, my client, her ovary was overextended, and we were just starting and trying to get her to open up, but she was really resistant to allowing things to come in for her and to receive for herself. And she really needed more support and more work with it. And she chose not to. She didn't continue working with me. And what's really sad is that she's not successful in her business, and she had to go back to doing what she was doing prior to doing her coaching business. She's still doing both, but she wasn't able to be successful in her coaching practice because I feel that she's really blocking that ability to bring it in. And also, I notice that we attract to us who we are. And so if we are not willing to say yes to ourselves, then we're going to attract people who aren't willing to say yes to themselves as well. And so I've noticed that every time I have said yes to me and stepped up and invested in myself in a really big way, that it has paid tenfold with the clients coming to me and them stepping up and saying yes. Plus, whatever I work on and whatever I learn to release and heal in myself, I get 3 or 4 people right after that that have the same issue that I can then help support them through their process. And so the more we can take care of ourselves, the more we can really help put our work out into the world and help others. And so while I wasn't able to affect her situation, there have been many other women that I've worked with who have been over nurturers, and we're able to bring that energy in and get that ovary plump and juicy again so it can support the right ovary. And the right ovary is all about putting our work out into the world. And so that right ovary can be the same. It can be shriveled up like a raisin. It can be overextended like a empty water balloon. And each ovary can be different. And ideally, we want the left ovary filling up and bringing energy in, and then supporting and working with the right ovary to bring your work out into the world. And so many women are overextended and working really, really hard, and their right ovary is it's either exhausted and tired and depleted, and that leads to burnout. And those are the women that, are burning out in their business, and they're forcing things to happen, and they're pushing themselves on people, and they're showing their masculine is in overdrive. And so when you can open up and balance the energy and get the ovaries balanced out and connecting to each other, I have not found a woman yet whose ovaries are communicating with each other, because we don't know. We've never been taught this information before. And I tell you, it has changed my life, and it has changed so many other women that I've worked with. It's changed their lives dramatically as well. So when you have both ovaries nice and plump and juicy and they're supporting each other, then you're in balance. and you're able to do your work in a sustainable way that allows you to get your work out there in a much bigger way, in a way that you can continue to do forever and ever and ever. And that's really what we want. And our ovaries are also, I call them our little spotlights, our headlights of a car. You know, our ovaries are little headlights, and they have a little spark in them. And we want that spark shining brightly. And that's what helps with our radiance. And so when you can activate and balance your ovaries, you can have a brighter radiance coming from within you. And people definitely notice. So let's also look at our uterus here. And if there's two things I really hope you get from this webinar. One is how powerful our pelvis is, and the other is how powerful our uterus is. And I really want you to realize that our uterus is way, way more than the place we house a baby and the place that we bleed from each month. The uterus is a spiritual gateway. It is what allows souls to come into this world. And it also has a huge transformative energy in its walls. It takes 2 cells and it creates a baby. How powerful is that? And it's also our creative center. And the uterus has a cycle of energy to it. We have holding energy during when we're building our uterus lining, and then we have a releasing energy. And that releasing energy is during our menstrual flow, and that is a cleansing opportunity. That is our body's beautiful way of clearing out all that we no longer need. And so maybe instead of, most women have a dread from the monthly cycle when the period comes. And instead, if we can embrace it and go, oh, yeah, I'm getting rid of all I don't need. And it's also a time where we can really be a little bit more restful and easy on ourselves, taking it easy and trying not to be as active as we really honor that releasing happening. And so all too often, women are having imbalances in this energy cycle. We can have excessive energy holding, and we can also have excessive energy releasing. And so when our uterus is holding on to energy too tightly, we have a hard time getting our work out into the world. We continue to fiddle and fiddle and fiddle and trying to make it perfect before we put anything out there. We might be afraid of judgment of, what are people going to think if I put this out there? And so we hang on to it and we continue to alter it and change it and fix it and make it better, and yet we never really get it out there. And so if that is you, or you notice that in you, your uterus may be hanging on to too much energy. And then the excessive releasing energy is when we give all of our power away. The energy flows out too much, and that shows up in ways in which we put our work out into the world and then we let everybody else take ownership of it. So we're giving our power away and letting them take ownership of our work. And so either way, we're in imbalance there. And in my Rich and Radiant program, we really work closely with your pelvic space and getting that. There's a 4-step process we work with in getting you to be able to inhabit and live in your pelvic space. And we've gone over one of those steps, the pelvic sweeping exercise. And I apologize if you didn't have enough time to really do that exercise, but I have a ton of information I want to cover today. And so you've got the steps for it, and you can do it anytime in any place. And in my program, we also work with the ovaries and getting them balanced. And then we work with the uterus to help make sure that that energy is able to hold and sustain our creations, but also release and let us put it out there into the world. And when you have this balance and you're accessing the energy in the space, you have a vibrancy and an energy that just radiates. It shines, and people notice it. I was a part of a networking group, and I quit going to the group several years back, like 3 or 4 years back, and when I was going through my divorce. And then just a couple of months ago, I went to a meeting that they had, and some of the women who knew me from way back then were like, "What the heck are you doing, Lynn? You're just glowing. You just have a radiance about you that is just amazing. What's going on?" And I just told them about this work that I've been doing with the pelvis and how it's just changed my life and it's changing all my clients' life. And they're like, "Tell me more. I want to know more. This is amazing." So the other thing we need to know about our uterus is that it is our truth detector. So I've gotten into the habit of really asking my uterus, what do I need to do in my business, in my life, which, if I ever have a decision to make, I put it in my uterus, and I put both aspects of the decision. Well, okay, what happens if I do this? And I put that in there and just see what the reaction is, and then put the other one in there and see what else I get. And it's so powerful. I was sitting next to a woman at a conference, and the speaker had made an offer to do a year-long mastermind, and it was a huge financial investment. And she was I could just feel her sitting next to me. Her head was just spinning. Her mind was just going a mile a minute trying to figure out if she should do this or not. And I said, "Excuse me, it seems like you're having a hard time with your decision here." And she said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Well, would you mind if I shared my work with you?" And she said, "Sure." And I said, "Okay, so put this idea of doing the mastermind and being a part of it in your womb space and see what happens." And she did. And she's like, "Oh my God, everything relaxed and the energy started flowing down my legs." And I said, "Okay, now don't, put the idea of you not doing it and what happens." She said, "Everything just shriveled up inside." I said, "Well, there's your answer." And she got so excited because it was so clear. She's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." That was so clear. And so one thing that we need to know, if any of you are currently, if you're not cycling anymore, if you might be going through menopause, your uterine energy still has that flow, and you can connect it to the moon cycle. So during a full moon might be your time of release, and then the other phases of the cycle is when you're building. And it's just so important for us to really allow ourselves to have this time of release, to let go of what's no longer serving us. So you may get a sense that, oh my gosh, I just need to let things go here a little bit and just really allow your uterus to flow again. And then if you've had a hysterectomy and any of these organs are removed from this space, it still doesn't matter because the energetic of those organs is still within you. So you can still tap into the energy of these organs and work with them. So let's move on to secret number 3 here. Your blocks to your success lie in your imprints. And so we have imprints from our time in the womb, from our birth. We have ancestral imprints. We have childhood imprints. And all the great thing is that we can shift all these imprints that we have so they don't have as much impact on our life. And these imprints go so much deeper than our beliefs, because our beliefs were developed from age 0 to 6. Well, the imprints of our time in our womb and our birth happened way before then. And so there's a thing called perinatal psychology, which is really working and understanding just how much that baby in the womb really took on. And so I see this all the time in my work with women, just how impactful our time in the womb really was and what we took on from mom. And in taking on this stuff from mom, we've really lost identity with who we truly are. And so when we can let go and release what we took on from mom and give it back to mom, then we can show up more fully as ourselves. And so it doesn't matter if you can't remember anything that happened to you during your time in the womb or when you were born, because your body still remembers. You have cellular memory, and with the cellular memory, our bodies remember what we went through. And so it's just a matter of tapping into it and working with it, like I did when I was laying on the table. Remember how my left knee just kind of drew up into my chest? I wasn't consciously aware of that. That's my body just started doing that. So it is possible for you to still access that. And so a couple of the common imprints that I see from the womb, there's many, many, many of them, but one of the more common one is this idea that if mom was not okay when she was pregnant with you, if she didn't feel energetically okay, then let's see, you may have given all of your energy to mom and to help her to feel okay, because your survival depends on mom's survival. So if mom doesn't feel okay, baby is going to give everything to mom to help her to feel okay so that you both survive. And what happens then is you've got, as that baby inside, you've got this outflow of energy constantly pouring out, trying to support mom. And you're born with that pattern. So then you still have this pattern of, I need to save the world. I need to help everybody. And you take on responsibility for everyone. That's exhausting. And it's also not your job. And so we can go back and really change that imprint and bring the energy back into you so that you are more contained, your energy is more contained, and you're able to show up in a whole different way. And that's the great thing about shifting these imprints. It's like it happens instantaneously. You just start showing up in a whole new way. There's nothing to think about. There's nothing to process. It's just like, oh, it's things just start happening differently. And I don't think I shared that earlier, but once I re-imprinted my birth in my business, things just started falling in my lap. I had an opportunity. A client came to me, and she was the owner of a video business, and she's like, "Hey, can we do a free video for you? And and we'll pay for advertising and put it out there, and you just tell us how it goes." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So, opportunities like these just keep falling in our lap. And it's so fun. It's so fun to see the shift and the change. And so that's one of the big imprints that I see in women in the womb space, but there's many, many more. And then remember the birth imprint too. So my birth of being born breech and being resistant and shifting that. Remember Linda, who had the $75,000 month, because when she was in the womb, her dad really wanted a boy. And so that's when she turned off her feminine energy. She denied it because she wanted to show up as a boy for her dad. And when she was going through the birth, re-imprinting her birth, she could feel her entire left side resisting, like scratching the walls, like coming, resisting coming out. And as she was able to shift that, she was able to more fully embody her feminine essence. And if she had not done the birth re-imprinting, she would have had a much harder time embracing her feminine, because that imprint would have still been there and she would have still been resisting. But because we were able to clear that out, then she was able to fully embrace it, and it was no big deal for her. But if we have these imprints that are really running us and impacting how we're showing up in the world, until we release those, they're going to continue to impact us. So let's see. So another big impact for us is our childhood, things that happen to us in our childhood. And so we also have our ancestral imprints and how those impact us. And we carry a lot of this on. And I invite you to just kind of think back or look back at your history with your parents and then your grandparents, and see if there's a pattern maybe around money. And I know that, my grandmother so my grandmother was one of 13 children raised during the Depression. So she at 80 years old, whenever she'd go out to the restaurant, she would take those ketchup packets and bring them home, because that was just her mindset. It's like that hoarding or grabbing whatever little thing you can. And my grandmother had plenty of money. She drove a Cadillac, but she would still grab the ketchup packets. And then in my mom, there's always been the scarcity and lack energy. And so I've worked with my imprints from my ancestry to really release that lack and limitation around money. And something that I've just shifted, and I choose not to embrace that imprint anymore. And so see how your imprints from your ancestors may be showing up and playing for you, playing out in your life today. And in my Rich and Radiant program, we do a whole process of releasing these imprints so that they're no longer affecting you. Because when you have these imprints, it really prevents you from accessing your own true potential in your life. I do not believe in lack and limitation and scarcity in my world. And yet that is the imprint that I had from my grandmother and my mom. And so by releasing that imprint, I can release the energy of that showing up in my life. And so instead of you having the life that you really want to live, you're living out these patterns from your ancestors when you still have these imprints attached to you. So once you release those patterns, then you can not allow them to influence your behaviors and your actions today. So one last thing I want to cover here is this idea of rich. So when I say rich, everybody always thinks about money. And while money is such an important part of our richness, there is so much more. Money is just a symptom of our issues. It's not the cause. You know, everybody thinks, well, if I just have more money, then everything will be okay. And that's just so not the case. Money just creates more of who you already are. And so if you're wanting to attract more money to you, you really need to work on you. We've got to heal ourselves first, and then the money can come in. In my last program that I ran, one of the women in the first week, after just connecting into her bowl and clearing her pelvic space, she got an increase in her salary, and she was able to clear up an issue that she had with her older children that was costing her some money, a lot of money, in fact. And so she was so excited by just doing one little step of saying yes to you, doing the healing work that is required of us to show up more fully and authentically so that we can attract in the money and the love and the connections that we really, really desire. And so when you're connected to your pelvic space, it allows you to show up more real, and you can be more inspired to do the work that's truly meant to be done. And you're more connected to yourself, which allows you to connect in better to others. And it also helps you to be more heartfelt, which hopefully leads you to more happiness. And I know all of my clients have found that doing this work has led them to greater wealth. So now remember, we're on this call today because we all know that we have some blocks to really making more money and getting ourselves to the next level in our business. And so today we've talked about how your pelvis is the foundation of your business and how it's also a storehouse for all of our emotions and unprocessed events and everything that happen to us. And when we clear that out, we can show up more fully, and we're able to have greater clarity, hold more money, attract more clients, and have greater success in our business. And then we've also talked about how our ovaries show us how we're showing up in the world and how balancing out their energy can bring greater ease and flow and joy and help avoid burnout. And so I wanted to answer one of the questions over here was about having pain on the right side of the body, and does that mean that you're resisting your masculine side? Because remember, the right side is the masculine and the left side is the feminine. And yes, pain on that side can definitely mean that there is some issue that you have on around your masculine. And so working with the masculine energy and really looking at too at your relationships with dad, husband, partners, grandparents, and clearing all that can also help with your pain as well. And then we've also talked about how your uterus is so powerful. And when you harness this energy, you can really transform what's limiting you. And it can help you find your truth. And really, it's the closest connection we have to the divine, is the spiritual gateway through our uterus. So tapping into that can help us tap into our higher self and really what our higher self is wanting to manifest through us in this life. And then we've also talked about the imprints and how they may be holding you back and limiting your ability to show up more powerfully as you. And so, wanted to move, there we go. So what I know is that this connection to your power center is so powerful and helps you to show up. I missed a slide here. This is what I know you need for success, is a greater connection to your power center, which that power center is your pelvis. You need to activate this inner radiance so you can attract the right attention and the clients to you that you're wanting to work with. And you need to clear the emotional garbage and imprints that are getting in your way of really being more successful in your life and in your business. And we need to create a better relationship with ourselves and with money. And so, whatever you showed up wanting today, I really hope you got two things: that your connection to yourself and this magical space, which is your pelvis, is really the foundation for your success in your business. And that connection to your uterus is your spiritual gateway, and it's your connection, and it's so powerful and can transform so much. So, what would it mean for you if in the next 30 days you were able to really connect into this area, connect into your truth, and know the right directions and the right decisions for you to make in your life and in your business? What if you could eliminate the blocks that are holding you back from greater success? And you're able to really put yourself out there in a much bigger way. And you're attracting to you the perfect clients you just love working with. And you're doing so in a powerful way that creates balance, fun, and joy in your work. What would your life be like if you had all that? How unstoppable could you be? And I guess the bigger question is what is it costing you not to have this connection? So at this point in time, I've given you some really interesting, hopefully new information that you haven't experienced before, haven't heard before. And you can choose to continue to work on it yourself. Or if you're interested and would like some assistance, if you see a yellow button on the right-hand side, go ahead and click on it. And if you don't, at the very top under detached sidebar there where the chat room is, the fourth one over says pop-ins. If you click on pop-ins, this yellow button should pop up. And I'm just going to run back to the chat room here. Can you let me know if the yellow button doesn't show up there? Can you guys see the yellow button? So click on pop-ins if you can't see the yellow button. And this choice of yours to either continue on doing what you're currently doing and trying to take this work and working on it on your own, or if you really want to claim your power and change your relationship with money and yourself and have more success in your business, then here's what I have for you. If you will click on this yellow button, a new tab will open up. And this is my page, my offer page, to just have an opportunity to connect with you and to chat with you. Because if you're tired of not being able to get to the next level of success in your business and you really dream of having a better relationship with money, clients and money flowing to you, a special inner glow that attracts the right attention to you, greater balance, ease, and grace in your life and business, then I'd like to offer you a session to connect in with me, and we will get together and really see what is holding you back from greater success in your business. I will do a personal energy reading with you and make my professional recommendations on what you need next to really release the blocks to your richness and radiance and really activate your feminine power and open your receiving channels and really help you get to the next level of success. And so I just want to throw in here, we're still going to go back to the webinar and talk about the number one way to access your radiance anytime, any place. So do hang in there. But if you're interested in learning more about how this work can impact your life, then I invite you to sign up for a discovery session so that we can really clarify what's holding you back and identify the specific steps that you need to get to the next level of success and really let your inner radiance shine in your business. So if you're 100% committed to growing yourself and your business and you're really serious about doing what it takes, scroll on down in this page to the boxes, enter your name and email, and click on the yellow button, Apply Now. And I will get in contact with you. There will be a questionnaire page that will show up, and if you answer, once you answer those questions, it'll send me an email, and then I'll get in contact with you, and we'll set up our time together to talk. I would really like to help you access your inner power and know that you have this ability, this potential to bring forth your work out into the world in a much more powerful way. So if this is of interest to you and you would like to get together with me, please just put your name and email in the button in the boxes and click on that yellow button. And I would be happy to spend some time together to see how you can benefit from learning more about this work. Okay, so now if you can click back to the okay, cool. You guys can see the yellow button. Yay. So hopefully you clicked on it, you went to that other page, and please feel free to put your name and email in and sign up for a discovery session. And I'd love to get together and see what's going on for you in your pelvis. So if you all, thank you, Terry, for your comment. Heartfelt should be changed to heart-centered in a contemplation. I like that. Thank you very much. I will take that into consideration. So go ahead and come on back to the slides here in the Google Hangout, and we are going to talk about the #1 way you can access your radiance anytime, any place. And as you've heard throughout this seminar, this webinar, that it's really comes down to your connection to your pelvic space. And yet there's a couple of things that you can do that can really boost and amplify this radiance. And the first thing is to just really breathe down into your pelvic space and connect into your ovaries. And just breathe into your ovaries. Remember, those are the headlights of your car. And when those ovaries are shining, they help activate that radiance. And then connect into your uterus and breathe into that uterus and allow the energy of that uterus to radiate out from you. And there's a couple of movements that you can do that can really help shift the energy around you. So this is something that you can do before you go into a networking event, before you're going to talk up on stage or talk to someone, or maybe even make do a discovery session or make an offer of your work. You know, just really connect into this pelvic space. And you can do a tiny little pelvic tilt. So where you tuck your bottom underneath you and then you kind of stick your butt back a little bit. And if you do it nice and slow, it's like fanning the flame of that uterine fire within you. And it just helps build that energy so that it can radiate out from you. Now remember, we're not forcing anything, we're not pushing anything out. We are just trying to be this center from which we radiate from. So before you go into your next meeting, your next presentation, networking event, really connect into the space, connect into your ovaries, breathe down in them, connect into your uterus, and you can just do a tiny little pelvic rock, and that activates that feminine energy flow. And that's what can help you shine and radiate anytime. Okay, cool. So let's see. I have another question here I want to answer real quick. After the birth of my son, my uterus flipped upside down this way now for 40 plus years. Now in menopause, my ovaries are questionable. What does that mean for my life? Receiving, giving, love, insight, and/or suggestions. Thanks. All right, Gloria. The uterus flipping upside down there's probably some energy around that birth that needs to be shifted or cleared. I'm curious, I'm sure you're very excited about having this baby, but there may have been something going on in an energetic level for you in your life at that time. And let's see, your ovaries. it depends on if you're not able to feel either ovary, then it's just that lack of connection down there. And so I would just encourage you to keep breathing and trying to access them, and seeing what happens. But if you feel, if you'd like to, Glory, go ahead and schedule a discovery session. We can talk more about this. So I would love to chat with you more about it. Okay. Um, huh. Alrighty. So that is everything that I want to cover today. So thank you all very much for joining me. I so appreciate it. And the special surprise I have for you guys is if you go to my website, I'm going to give you a special link. This is only going to be active for the next hour. So if you're interested in getting this, you need to go right away and download this ebook. The ebook is called Stop Undercharging Now. And to access that, you go to rebirthyourradiance.com/stop and then a dash undercharging dash download /. So rebirthyourradiance.com/stop dash undercharging dash download /. And so that'll be active until 12:30 today. If you want to get access to that as my thank you for being live with me on the call, I so appreciate that. And there will be a replay of this webinar coming to you in your emails. And I apologize to all those that may have been getting bombarded with emails from me. Please forgive me. This, I think with the webinar and my other server, I haven't quite figured out when emails are going out, and I realize that I've been bombarding people, and I so apologize. So you will be getting some follow-up emails from this webinar, and it will have the replay link in it so you can access this information and really work with this material more. And know that I would love to help you out and connect with you if you're interested in doing a Rich and Radiant session. So just click on the yellow button and go to that page and fill out that form. And so thank you all very much, and I so appreciate it. And please share this information with your girlfriends. The more we can empower women, the better off this world is going to be. So thank you all very much. Take care.